When the news broke and was confirmed that a director at the Integrity Commission, IC, had been shot and wounded, I was shocked. I hoped that it was not serious. The rumor mill and conspiracy web were overactive. Had someone gone after the IC and targeted one of its staff? Any shooting is bad, but if there was any attempt to frighten the IC or chill its actions, that would have been terrible indeed. Good day. This is the 90th edition of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica Podcast. Please hit that subscribe button if you have not yet done so. What are you waiting for? And please share this podcast with your colleagues and friends. Desmond Richards comes in on Mrs Dalrymple Philibert and Christie. Winnie Anderson Brown asks about readiness for a smart city. But first, frankly speaking, my commentary. Remember now, prior to Thursday's shooting, the IC had been in the news for several days, and calls continued for the disclosure of the names of 6 parliamentarians who the IC said had illicitly enriched themselves. Going back earlier, we remember that question had been asked in Parliament by JLP MP Everard Warmington about the political antecedents of one director. Then matters climaxed with the report to Parliament Tuesday that the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mrs Dalrymple Philibert, should be charged for making a false statement in a statutory declaration in relation to a Mercedes-Benz motor vehicle on which she had received a government concession. The charges concern her declarations from 2015 to 2021. Mrs. Philibert said and has repeated that she had forgot. But what seemed to have got universal condemnation was that Mrs. Philibert made the wrong decision by presiding as Speaker at the very session of Parliament where the report was to be tabled. Frankly speaking, in addition, she took action to shut down the opposition being able to ask questions about it. Now, at the time of the shooting, all that was in the air. So it was with some relief that I and the nation learned in short order, just hours later in fact, that initial police investigations suggested the motive was robbery. The director had been trailed from the bank and when he alighted from his car was shot by a motorcycle pillion who took his bag. It was a shooting and robbery, yet another of those. The shooting and robbery are still to be condemned, but had it been a set of or a suspected hit, that would have been another thing entirely. Frankly speaking, the police should tell us in a timely manner of their investigations, especially given all the interest in this issue. In the end, Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert did the right thing and resigned as Speaker. She went further and resigned as MP for Trelawney South, a constituency she won for 4 elections in a row, sometimes in a canter. Mr. Christie, the Executive Director of the IC, made comments about the shooting immediately after it occurred. His statement asked the government could have inflamed things. The comments are unworthy of him and irresponsible. I don't know, frankly speaking, what he had heard up to then or what he knew. Frankly speaking, I don't know if the stress of it all had got to him. Frankly speaking, I'm not going to guess about his state of mind either. Significantly, frankly speaking, Mr. Christie, up to Saturday afternoon late, had himself offered no apology to the Jamaican people. The IC, using its code to shield Mr. Christie, has said that he has apologized for the misinterpretations of his comments. There is no divine right to the executive leadership of the IC. Frankly speaking, nor is Mr. Christie indispensable, regardless of his vaunted work as head of the predecessor office. I want to see the IC thrive. It is important to Jamaica. It is important to governance in this country, where people are sick of corruption. The IC is bigger than Mr. Christie, and it must not be held back by him or lose any credibility because of him. Mr. Christie, all things considered, should resign and leave the Integrity Commission to do its work without any reasonable accusation of partisan bias in its actions or about its senior staff. There is too much serious work to be done. That's Desmond Richards, journalist and founder of Rebel Radio, Jamaica.
Yes, so the Speaker of the House, Mrs Dalrymple, has resigned from her post as Speaker and as Member of Parliament. Now, that is what she should have done in the first place. Instead of doing that, she used her political influence or political power to act as judge and jury in the House after she was indicted by the Integrity Commission on serious charges. Now, as a lawyer, she knows that she cannot be the judge and juror in her own case. Yes. Now, as it relates to her resignation as Member of Parliament, my reports are that she was contemplating not to run in the next elections. And I have reports that her constituents are not pleased with her performance. And therefore, I think she sees the opportunity to quit because I don't think she was planning to run for the next general elections. Yes, this is what must be done. But one of the things that we should know, that she resigned voluntarily. The Labour Party and her government never asked her to resign. And I am sure that at the time when she resigned, there was no question from the Prime Minister nor the government, her government, for her to resign. And the nature of our politics is that the majority of Labour Party supporters and government members were in support of her not to resign and to preside over the Parliament. That is the nature of the politics that we have in the country. And I am sure that they are upset that she resigned. Now, what is going to happen to the people of South Trelawney? Is the government going to call a by-election, or they are going to remain unrepresented until the next general elections? Let's watch and see. Now, we also observe that the executive director of the Integrity Commission, Mr. Christie, has come under some criticism on social media for comments he made when he was asked for his comment on the shooting of the director on Thursday. He told the reporter that he should ask the government. Now, what is wrong with that? It is the government responsibility, the state responsibility to provide security. The 900 and odd murders, the high murder rate, the high crime rate in Jamaica over the last 21 years. Who is responsible? The government is responsible for ensuring that the environment, the communities are safe for people to go about their business. The high rate of robberies and shootings, is it the responsibility of the government? So what is wrong with saying, ask the government? Of course, ask the government about the shootings. Who else you must ask? Simply ask for the government, referred the reporter to the government about the incident. That shooting Thursday is part of the statistic for 2023. And although there has been some reduction, with the crime rate is too high.
That's Desmond Richards, journalist and founder of Rebel Radio, Jamaica. And now to Winnie Anderson Brown.
Are we ready for a smart city in Jamaica? We have smartphones, smart watches, smart televisions, but are we ready for a smart city? What would we need in order to have a smart city? And there goes another acronym, IoT, the Internet of Things. These are sensors in urban areas that are used to collect data and automate systems such as traffic, energy use, and waste management. Now, of course, artificial intelligence plays a huge role in smart cities. If we make any of our cities, of our 2 cities, smart, what does that mean for us as a nation? Now, I am not sure if any of our political parties has paid attention to the idea of a smart city. I don't know that, but that is something that we should be able to discuss. We should be able to put on the table. Of course, there is a downside to smart cities. Issues of privacy. When so much data are collected, what does that mean? It means that citizens have less privacy. Are we up for that? In Jamaica, even to be properly identified is a challenge. Not everybody wants to be identified. For whatever reason, people are not comfortable with being identified. Using aliases, that is popular. And I meet people from time to time who really do not want their names known. They may tell you a first name, but not the last name. What are the implications of having a smart city in Jamaica? Would that help to reduce crime? Would that make our systems more efficient? Just food for thought.
That's Winnie Anderson Brown, educator and health facilitator. That's the 90th edition of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. On behalf of Winnie Anderson Brown and Desmond Richards, I'm Franklin McKnight. Until then,